Yes, you're not seeing, believing things. This is a Managersim special. There is no music to this intro because the last time we did this intro, the last time we did the Managersim special back in September 22, which time of this recording is about 5 months ago, um, I got muted or what's it called? Strike hit with the music I was using, even though it was actually stream-free YouTube music, which was very odd. So I'm taking no chances today, and I'm speaking over this lovely intro, which was created well over a year ago. So you see some blasts from the past there, from the time of Manager Sim, Soccer Sim. For all those people who remember the old days, hello. For all those new people, welcome to another Manager Sim special. And yes, this is a rarity. I'm actually talking over the intro bit. This normally does not happen. Also, since September 22, uh, many things have happened in my life. The big one for streaming wise is I actually stream a lot less nowadays. I'm kind of in semi-retirement, and I've also got a new headphone microphone set, so my voice might sound a little bit different. Hopefully, sounds better for you guys. But yes, let's go into the world of Manager Sim. So I've made this screen look a lot bigger, and we are currently in the Phoenix game world. And I thought it'd be nice to do a Manager Sim special about something that probably was kind of like a mini taboo subject many seasons ago in Manager Sim about the old age problem. Old, that's a good pun for what we're going to talk about. The old age problem about players who reach a certain age. Now, in the kind of the olden days of Manager Sim, Soccer Sim, people please correct me if I'm wrong. If you get a player who ages 29, 30 in the game, then their stats start to decrease quite violently in some cases, or slowly in other cases. You kind of see that with the value of the player suddenly starting to drop. Um, but I've been talking to Bernard the last couple of months, and also other people. Dave Oliver, hello, how are you doing? He knows more about this than me. It's basically about it's not it's quite a good idea to have a couple of older players actually still in your squad, because basically if you have a couple of older players in your squad, they will give you your younger player, especially with the feature in the game. If you look at my harm beside him, Phoenix, you've now got an average age feature in the game now, which if you haven't noticed, it's been there for a while. This gives you a good indication how young your team is, um, and how experienced they are. So basically, the average age team, most people would want a quite a young team because this team will then last for a long time in the game. But that's not always the case because young teams don't offer experience unless you've got something like I'm guessing like the Wayne Rooney in real life. Like he made his debut very young when he was 18, 19 years old. Is it? Well, he was 17, I think, when he played for Everton and then moved over to Man United. And he became an England international at 18, 19 years old. And he stayed in England international to his early 30s, offering experience the older he got. Um, but the main rule is if the average age team is quite young, then they don't normally offer too much experience. That's why it might be a great idea to do a bit of, especially during the free transfer time. But this idea is actually quite easy because you're going to try to find some experienced older players, 30 plus. Don't be afraid even to make them 35 older, and keep them for a season or two on low wages, because they will give you your younger guys extra experience, and extra experience would mean also extra growth, which is another thing that's quite important in the game now, because as you may notice, the last couple of months there's been some tweaks to how the youngsters are being rated in the game. So, for instance, in my Lille side on the other game world, I had some massive rating drops for some of those players, and then some high ones for other players. But I was mostly, I wasn't happy. Mostly they were drops, not going up. instead. But let's just take my Harnaby side, for instance. If you look at the players in my current squad, I've got the zoom on really high this time. I think it's maybe on too high, so just bear with me for a second. If I just get rid of the zoom for a second and turn this down a bit and then put the full screen back up. There we go. A little bit better for me because it was too big for me, probably ideal for you guys. As you can see, my average age of my Harmby side is 23. I've got young, again with Harmby, I get a really decent youth team coming in. We're not that successful in international tournaments, but we are more successful at home. And I've got a good balance of some decent youngsters coming in, like for instance, this player, J. Lee Williams, he's going to be a really good player in future. His value is still pretty low, but if you can see his main tackling is 95, and he's got some mixture of some good ratings there as well. But again, he's going to grow in time. You can see that if you move closer, we've got some slightly older players, 27, which is kind of like peak. Palace is 29. If this was the older me, I will start thinking of selling Palace because he's reaching that 30, 31 soon. But I might keep him instead because he's happy, and also he might be offering some good experience for some of the younger guys because Palace has been with us since 2029, so he's been with us for nearly 10 years. So if there was a 10-year testimonial in this game, he will probably have one very soon. And then if you look further down on my list, again, I've got a big team here at Harmony. I've got some 27-year-olds like Philander is probably my top player. He's been with me since youth team. He's a ex-youth player, so he's been with me for 10 years, and he's only 27 years old. But the amount of experience, games, and years he's been with the club, he is definitely going to stay with us until he probably retires. I'm hoping he's going to be a one-team man, but that depends. When he gets older, he might want to leave. He's not a Swedish international, which I find very, very strange. I think the whole international aspect of the game still needs a lot of looking at because I've got a lot of players in my side who should be internationals by now, and Philander is definitely one. You can see he's a very good player, and he's not had one Swedish cap. And then I went into the Swedish national team, and yeah, he should be in there. But that's just my opinion. I'm being very biased because, of course, I'm his manager. But again, you can see that I have got a 30-year-old. I've got a 31-year-old. Now, this was a risk buying this guy. Kala he's one of the best strikers in the game. You might find that hard to believe because a lot of you probably never heard of him. But you can see his goals to games ratio there when he was at Olympique Marseille. He was a bit of I knew him from my the other team I'm with on this server, Green Camp, I can't even pronounce them, that this is the guy that kept defeating us. This is the guy who actually scored the goals that prevented my Green Camp side getting into the Champions League last year. They finished fourth in the end because we lost to Marseille twice, I think, and he was the guy who kept scoring goals. So I thought, ooh, maybe because he's still 31 years old, and you can see that the last season he had was 43 games, 55 goals. I thought maybe I should bring him to Harmby, and it was a risk because I never normally spend 8 million on a player who's over 30 years old, but I took the risk and I thought I'm going to give it a go and see if it works or if it doesn't work. And yeah, he's got a good track record of scoring a lot of goals per season. Not the best though. There is one golden oldie who's much better than him. And in the last game, the last league game that Hammarby played against Dalkurd again, he scored 4 goals, and he even put my star striker to shame. So I'll see how this season goes on. I've got some very good strikers. This guy here is my star striker, and he's going to be with me for a long time yet. He's 27 years old, and I've also got this guy who's kind of like the future. He's actually meant to be my main striking partner, but I wanted to give the golden oldie a chance. So they're my main 3 strikers, and all those people saying, oh, I can go nip him on these clauses. Sorry, It's only free on relegation clauses for these guys. And they are my star strikers as well, hence no release fee. So, haha, good try. Um, so yeah, if you got a very young side, and I've noticed a lot of human managers have got young sides, and you want to get and you'll notice the stats are not growing as much as you hope, because that could be also because they're not playing as many games. If that's the case, send them off on loan so they can gain experience, and then it'll keep them happy as well, so they don't want to leave you, and get them to play regularly. If they're not going to play in the first team, get them off on loan, and hopefully some AIs will pick them up. As you can see, I've got quite a lot of my players on loan, and see how it goes. If you've got a smaller side, then definitely play them, but with some experienced players in. Of course, there's a lot of 30 plus players in the game whose main stats aren't that good, so you might only need to bring them in as squad players, and that's it. Like I've got two in my Lille game who are just they're hopeless, but they just offer some experience to my very young side. But then only if they're not that very good and they're just offering experience, just give them short deals, like 1 year deals, and then you can just let them go the next season. These on freeze, but on this Calic, he was a bit of a risk because I actually spent money, 8 million on him, and you can see his rating, his value is dropping. His weekly wage is going to stay. He's still a Turkish international though, so that's giving you a bit that the game still thinks he's a good player. But as I mentioned a few minutes ago, he isn't the best golden oldie around. Um, this is because Dave told me about this guy, and this gave me the idea of bringing that Turkish international into my side, and hence why I'm doing this video for you guys as well. Um, this is who I think is the best golden oldie in the game by a long way. I can't even pronounce his surname, so I'm just going to, it's just Sasha. So Sasha, the German international, who's had 55 caps, 69 goals. My God, he's like a older version of Haaland in real life. You can see there that his stats are still amazing. He's still got a good estimated value. He's still got a very good wage, and he's 35 years old. He'd be 36 next month. His stats should be dropping, but this is what makes Managersim so unique at times, is that this is the 35-year-old who's been having regular games and his stats are simply not dropping. They will eventually. I think he's only got probably another 2 seasons maybe left in him. Dave will probably tell me in the comments. But you can see his stats are amazing, especially these 4 main stats here. And he's already scored 13 goals this season in the league. And if you look at last season, that is the big one there. He played 47 games and he scored 97 goals in total. He nearly had 100 goals that season. And you can see, even 2 seasons ago, he had 77 goals and then 50 goals, 51 goals. He'd be world famous. He'd be up there with the Messis and Ronaldos. He probably is the Messi and Ronaldo of the game currently. 68 goals. Even he's been around for 20 years and he's never really disappointed anyone in any of the seasons. You can see that he was bought by Liverpool in 2022, so 17 seasons ago, and well, for 22.5 million, I think he's easily made that money for the side. He's just an amazing player. So that's why I thought I want to do this little bit of a Managersim special. It's just looking at giving some love to the golden oldies. I noticed in the Liverpool side they have actually got a few more golden oldies. So it's definitely Dave has gone down the route of, if they're old enough and they're still good enough, then why not still keep them playing? Like, here we go. Here's the Romanian international. He's doing pretty well. So it's always a good idea to bring some older players in if they're still pretty half decent, to give your younger players experience. So Liverpool's average age is actually 25, so he's actually 2 years older. Oh, there's rumours that Dave could be leaving Liverpool. Ooh. So that's what I've just done, this little quick Managersim special about maybe bringing some older players to give your team some experience. Again, as always, the game world here is the August 2018, so we've only just started this season in the game. I think this is the 20th season or something like that that the game world's been alive. Um, if you look at the Premier League here, we got nothing much has changed really in Manager Sim in the Phoenix game world. A lot has changed, I think, in the other game world, and when the game world were in France. But yeah, that's what England looks like. I'm not going to go through all the leagues because this was mostly about the bringing some older players in. There's the Spanish league, which has only got 3 human sides in it. Valencia still top, doing very well as always. France is a lot more competitive now with the Giants of Nimes going. The manager left a while ago. You've got a couple of sides here, including my Guan camp there. In Germany is very rarely being populated with managers now. Dortmund, Hamburger, SV are always there, top two every season, and yeah, only 3 human sides there. Italy seems to be it's the second most competitive league in the Phoenix game world, after England, of course, and it's always good to see how they're getting on. Some really good players, but yeah, they've got about 7 human managers. And again, we go back to England, which is probably the most competitive league in the Manager Sim game. We've got quite a few human managers in there. And yeah, that's just what the leagues look like there. Again, I'm not going through the leagues and who's winning what, who's the players. This video was really for basically giving you love to the older players, basically. So again, if your team, if you've got a very young side, and I mean average age of 21, 22, 23, then it might be a good idea to bring 1 or 2 experienced 30 plus older players if they're half decent, because they might help your young side have that little bit of extra growth. So you might see a couple of things happening. It's always very risky getting an older player because their stats might suddenly decrease during that season, especially the older they get. But it's a risk worth taking, and most of these older players could well be in the free transfer list during the whole season, so it might not cost you anything at all. Obviously, the transfer lists are still mostly dominated by loan signings. Very few players are actually transfer listed. This goes for both game worlds. It's just the way things are at the moment. The free transfer list is probably the way to go. Then you can look and see what players you want to get. Obviously, 16, 17, 18-year-olds won't give you much experience. If you notice a decent 16, 17-year-old in here, you mostly see 18-year-olds. But sometimes you see these 16, 17-year-old is because they've had a contract very much quicker than the others because they've been playing more and more league games. Then you always go and check to see if they're decent enough. As I'm a patron, I've got this extra button. I think, in case everyone else sees this, I don't know, what potentially their stats could go up to. So this guy could go up to 90 in tackling. Maybe, for instance. But then, yes, this is always the place to go to look for the odd gem 29, 30, 31 plus player who might help you a bit of experience. Like here in England, we haven't got that many. You got this guy here. He might give you, this is especially for a lower league, lower rated side maybe. He might come in and give you a little bit of experience. He's past his peak. He won't go up to 92 in shot. He'll stay at 81. He'll probably decrease at the older he gets, depending on how often he plays. He played at Tottenham. As you can see in Tottenham, he did carry on playing in his 30s with the side, and he was quite a prolific goal scorer. So this could actually be a mini gem for anyone out there who's watching this video. But again, Tottenham were then, still are, a non-human side. So let's just quickly, before we end this video, just quickly go to Italy. Italy's the next transfer list that I normally look at after England. And just to see what the current status of the free transfer market looks like. They've got some good transfer signings on here, by the way, including a really good goalie. I don't need a goalie, but I'm just saying. So let's just look. For instance, you got a 73, which is still okay for a backup goalie, and he's 37 years old. So was this guy? Yeah, he was originally possibly a 92. So again, he's past his peak, but you will see the rarities of some really experienced players as free transfers, and then you can go and buy them. Unless you do a bit of league searching and go around all the league sides, all the sides in the game, and see if you can find a really good older player and then just make a cheeky bid. The only disadvantage of that, of course, is that you will be spending money, and also more likely the side that you're approaching might just say get lost and you don't get a player, and you have to then decide if you're going to increase the bid or not. But anyway, that's just a brief little Managersim video. Hope everyone is alright, is okay, had a good festive period. It's 2023 by the time of this recording. Please, in your comments, nominate any golden oldies that you've still got on your side, or you've noticed on both game worlds, not just this game world, not just Phoenix. And maybe in another episode we'll go and have a look at them and see what they have done in their twilight years, as people say. Are they just as good as that Liverpool player and my one as well, for instance? So if you've got a golden oldie, or if you have seen a golden oldie in any of the game worlds, then please drop a comment with the name of the player and where he is and what game world he is in, and then we can possibly go and have a look at them before they retire. But anyway, as always, please like this video. I know the fan base of Managersim has dropped down a lot in the last couple of years due to many reasons, but if you could please like and make a comment to this video, that will help me greatly, because the more likes I get, the more happy I get, the more views I get, the more happy I get. And if the views hit a certain number, then I know that people might want to see more Managersim videos like I did in the past. But if the viewing numbers are very low, then I know this is kind of going to be the carry on of the specials that I do nowadays. Hopefully it won't take as long as 6 months to do the next one, but I hope you enjoy this. Again, please comment any of those golden oldie players that you've seen, and please make any comments for anything in Managersim that you'd like to see, or like my opinion about anything. And yeah, I hope to see you next time. Goodbye.